And those were the days. Black and white films, no sound. These days we have lots of sound and full colour for most films. That is, if you're a person. If you're a dog or a cat watching films or television, you don't see colour, you see black and white. We're one of the few animals that actually sees in colour. But colour vision is very tricky, and you can create colour out of black and white, which sounds mystifying. Have a look at this device. I've got a special disc here I've made out of cardboard. I'll show you how to make it in a tick. It's got a peculiar pattern of black and white on it. Half the disc is black, and the other has sets of black lines on it. Now I'm going to spin that, and you watch closely and see if you don't get an illusion of colour. Here we go. Start it off, and it picks up speed. This depends a bit on your eyes and your television set and a few other things, but at that speed most people see a hint of blue in there. And quite a lot of people see a hint of red just where my finger is. And perhaps a hint of some other colours as well. All right, you say that's a trick of the colour television set. Well, let's go back to the days of black and white, like black and white films, and drop the colour out of your television set. Don't be alarmed, it'll come back a bit later, but here we are in glorious black and white. And if I go back to the colour wheel now, or the black and white wheel, you'll see from my finger that we've actually lost the colour because my finger's grey, but even so, there's a hint of blue in that innermost one, and a hint of red just there. The loss of colour from your set doesn't in any way destroy the illusion of colour on the black and white wheel. If I switch that off again, it's still black and white lines, back to me, and here comes the colour back into your set. Well, what's all that about? It's a very tricky illusion. It plays tricks with the receptors in the back of your eyeball. And you might like to make that. You won't have a motor probably, you won't have a device like this, but you can still make a disc and you can spin it, and I'll show you how to do that very simply. First of all, the wheel. It's not as tricky as it looks. This is how you make it. Get yourself a piece of cardboard, white cardboard, and a pair of compasses, and open them to a radius of about 4 centimetres and spin a circle. Now I'm doing it very lightly in pencil. I have to do that, otherwise the pencil lines would interfere with the final product. But there's the circle, and that's going to be the outline of the disc. Now I close the compasses up about 2 millimetres at a time and keep drawing circles, at least half circles, always on the same side of the disc. I just keep working my way in to the centre of the circle. You see those lines coming. You don't have to be terribly accurate, but as neatly as you can will give you perhaps a better result. Well, that takes time to do. This is what it would look like when it was finished. The full circle with lots and lots of lines coming all the way in. At that stage I have to rule the circle up and cut it into eighths. So I put a line across the middle there, like that, leaving all the half circles on that side, then into quarters, and then splitting each of those quarters in two, finally into eighths, like spokes of a wheel. Again, don't have to be dead accurate, but work as neatly as you can. Now I said those lines have to be fairly faint, and they do. The lines we want for the Benham disc, as it's called after the person who discovered it, are really jet black lines. So we use a fine pointed pen, and working from this section, fill in about 3 or 4 like that. Do it more neatly than I am. I'm working for speed. At that stage, hop into the next quarter and work it out from the centre like that. And keep doing that all the way around, about 4 lines at a time. And when you finally run out of space, go back to the first one and complete it there. Then you colour in this side black. And again, that'll take a bit of time, but that's the finished result. Very much like the thing I spun in front of your eyes. Well, that's your own little disc, and here's how you spin it. Pick it up and make a hole close to the centre on one side and in the same position on the other side. Those have to be the same distance from the centre, otherwise it won't spin truly. And when you've done that, all you need is a piece of cotton, poke one end through that hole, the other end through the other, and knot them behind the disc. It's really very simple. And that's the finished result. The disc there, a loop of cotton at the front, and, if I can turn it over, a loop of cotton at the back. And if I just put my fingers in there, you can see how the disc sits right in the middle of that loop. Well, now to spin it and replace that motor, this is what we do. Run it up your front a few times while the cord is slack. That'll give it a good spin, and it puts a good twist in the cord. Then if you pull on the ends of the cord, it'll unwind, and at different speeds, you should get your own illusions of colour in your own Benham disc.